Enough Democrats who concluded that continuing to punish the American people with an extended shutdown wasn't the right way to deal with the challenges that face our country. And so we're all very pleased that we are out of the shutdown. And of course the question now is what comes next. And I think, at least here in the Senate, we have a lot of things, as you know, we have to get done. The Defense Authorization Bill, which has passed the Senate, is now being conferenced with the House. And when that conference is complete, we want to get that across the floor of the Senate. We have another nominations package we need to clear before the end of the year. And of course, we want to get the appropriations process moving again. It got slowed down during the shutdown, unfortunately, and as a consequence of that, we've got a lot of ground to make up. But as you all know, we did pass the 3 appropriations bills, and Milcon VA, Ag, and Ledge Branch. So 3 of the 12 are now law. And those 3 we got across the floor of the Senate before August, which is the first time that's happened since 2018. So as you all know, we are very committed to regular order on appropriations. We think that's the best way to fund the government, rather than having an omnibus bill written in the leader's office or a year-long CR. Going through a normal appropriations process where the committee marks up bills, has input from all the members on the committee, reports them to the floor, and there's an open process, transparent process on the floor, we think is the best way to fund the government. And so the challenge now is to get the next package ready to go. Starting, we've got the defense appropriations bill ready. We tried to move to that during the shutdown. The Democrats blocked it. We want to get on that. We're also trying to clear 4 other appropriations bills to put together a minibus that we could act on here in the Senate. So we're working through those holds, but I would just urge everybody who is interested in actually having the government funded through the traditional appropriations process to try and work constructively to get these bills up on the floor, to let us get on them and have an amendment process and try and process them in a way that enables us to fund the government through the appropriations process, as opposed to, as I said, either a continuing resolution or an omnibus or something like that. Those are not solutions that are good for the country, and they're certainly not good for this institution or for the House of Representatives. We want to do it the old-fashioned way. So that's what we intend to be working on over the course of the next several weeks, and I'm hopeful we'll have more progress to report.
You had a conversation during lunch about what you're going to do with this provision that allows senators to sue. Have you decided what you're going to do when the House sends that bill over to rescind that provision?
Well, we had a good conversation about that, and we'll have, I'm sure, a more fulsome conversation. Obviously, we'll see what the House does, but I will tell you that was designed, that was a Senate-specific solution. The statute that was violated applied only to the Senate, which is why we addressed it the way that we did. We strengthened that provision when it comes to allowing a federal government agency, the Justice Department in this case, to collect information, private information on individual senators. We think that's a violation of separation of powers under the Constitution. Obviously, Jack Smith violated the law in the way he went about that. This is something that needed to be addressed, and we'll see what the House does. And then we'll find out what our colleagues here in the Senate want to do. One thing I can tell you is there is a high level of interest in addressing the weaponization of the federal government, in this case the Biden Justice Department, against Article 1 members of our government here in the United States Senate.
Now that the Congress has passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, overwhelming votes in both chambers, Democrats say that they think the Justice Department, Pam Bondi, may slow walk the files release, citing ongoing investigations. Would it be a mistake for the administration to hold back these files, given the overwhelming expression of sentiment by the Congress here?
Well, I trust the judgment of the Justice Department to ensure that whatever files they release protect the victims, clearly, and I think there are other items, perhaps materials that were acquired through grand jury trials that perhaps they will have to make some decisions about, but I think they'll make the right decisions. I think the clear intent was in both the House and the Senate and the bill now that I don't know if the President signed it yet or not, but is to get the information out there. And I think, as you saw, there was a big vote yesterday in the House, and it was unanimous here in the Senate to do that.
Speaker Johnson said that he was blindsided about that DOJ provision allowing senators to sue. He also said he was angry about it. And then he also said he was disappointed that the Senate didn't change the Epstein bill like he demanded. Why are you and him on such different pages when it comes to these huge issues.
Well, I mean, I think there are different, obviously, having served in the House of Representatives for 6 years, I understand there are different ways of doing things. The House and the Senate function differently. We have procedures and rules that we have to adhere to and follow. It's much harder to get things, to pass things, as you all know, through the floor in the Senate. And so I think sometimes there are differences of opinion or disagreements that are partly related to the difference between the House and the Senate. They're different cultures. But in the end, the Speaker and I talk regularly. We communicate on a consistent basis, and we are unified in terms of our objectives and goals, and that is to work with the President of the United States to implement his and our agenda in a way that benefits the American people. And I think we've worked successfully to do that throughout this entire year, whether it's tax policy, energy policy, national security. You go right down the list. We have had a record of success, I think, both House and the Senate, in a unified way working together. So at times there may be, as I said, slight differences of opinion about how to proceed, how to get things done. But I think for the most part, I would say that we have an incredibly strong working relationship, and we work closely with the White House, and I think that's what's enabled a lot of the success.
Senator, the President has come out in favor of preempting state-level AI regulation. Is that something that you would support in the defense bill?
That is an issue that is being talked about in the context of the defense bill. It's a complicated issue, as you know. It did get litigated last summer on the floor of the Senate and in the House, for that matter, too. But it's complicated in the sense that there are lots of folks who believe that states ought to have some input into these things. But on the other hand, if you have states regulating an industry that operates across state lines, that also has implications for our economy. And so we've seen this before. We saw it this year earlier when we had to repeal the California waiver, which was something that was affecting 18 states and needed to be addressed. So we will take a look at how this is drafted in terms of the discussion that's being held on with the defense authorization bill to see if it is consistent with and complies with ensuring that states have some role when it comes to how companies operate within their states, but also recognizes the importance of having policies that enable interstate commerce, and artificial intelligence is going to be one of those issues, I think, it's going to explode. And so it's complicated, but I think our members are taking a hard look at how best to do that, and the President clearly has weighed in on what he would like to see happen, and we'll certainly take his views and give them optimum consideration.
On Russia sanctions, the White House has suggested that they're ready to go ahead. When will we see a vote on this bill? You've said that it's ready to go.
Right. I think what is more likely happens is the House originates that. It's a revenue measure, and so it has to, revenue measures originate in the House. If we had one available to us in the Senate, we could do it here. But I think, too, if you want to expedite movement of that in terms of getting it on the President's desk, it's probably quicker if it comes out of the House, comes over to us, and we're able to take it up and process it on the floor. So, but we continue to have conversations about that. The President has now weighed in support of the Russia sanctions legislation. As you know, Senator Graham has been working on this for a long time, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to give the administration the tools that they need to facilitate and bring about a peaceful resolution between Russia and Ukraine. And there are many of us, I'm on that bill, who think the Russia sanctions bill is an important tool in making that happen. Thank you all.
Before the end of the year.
We'll see.
Here. Okay, thank you everybody. Good afternoon. And I'm proud to be joined by Senators Klobuchar, Merkley, and Gallego. So, yesterday the House and Senate finally agreed to pass legislation to compel Donald Trump to release the Epstein Files. A few hours after it passed the House, I came to the floor and got unanimous consent for the Senate to immediately pass that bill. I told Leader Thune that I was going to come to the floor and ask for a unanimous consent request that deemed the bills passed, and at about 5, before the first vote, and at about 10 of 5, he said he wasn't going to block it. That was good. But enough with the Republican delay, dithering, and dilly-dally. This morning, the Senate finally received the Epstein bill. It's finally on its way to the President's desk. That's right. After months of waiting, months of Republican delay, so many failed attempts from Trump to hide the truth, the Epstein File Transparency Act is headed to the desk. It's a huge step for justice, for the brave and unrelentingly courageous victims. They were amazing. It wouldn't have happened without them. We salute them. It's also a great day for Americans, because Americans wanted to see the truth. Let's be clear, though, this wouldn't have happened without Democrats like the people with me today. But we are not done. No way. Our promise to the victims and to the American people is this. This will not and cannot be the end of the work. We'll keep the pressure up, pressure for the President to sign, and then pressure on the DOJ to release the full, unredacted files. No hiding, no game playing, no covering up. Pressure to make sure the documents are released in their entirety and not warped by a corrupt DOJ who's hell-bent on hiding the truth, bending the law, and protecting Trump. Trump's own Justice Department that told him he was in the files. You remember this. We know he's in there. He knows he's in them. What the heck is he hiding and been hiding for so long? It's time for the truth. This bill is a command for the President to be fully transparent, come fully clean, and provide full honesty to the American people, even if he doesn't want to. And just like we did with this vote, and for months on end, Democrats will fight for full transparency, nothing less. Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Leader Schumer. Courtney Wild, 14 years old when she was sexually abused by Epstein. Danielle Bensky, 17 years old when Epstein sexually abused her. Her mom had a brain tumor, and he told her that he could help her mom, but only if she abided by his demands, including recruiting other girls. He told her, I can use it to help you, or I can make it really difficult for your mother. As she said recently, it's a call to action. We're standing up for so many victims of sexual assault. As a former prosecutor, I can tell you that's what this is about. It is also about trust. When Donald Trump and the Republicans promised the American people time and time again, whether it was about bringing down costs, not true. Whether it was about making changes that help people, not true. But whether it was about releasing these Epstein files, now we'll find out the truth. Donald Trump knew that there was overwhelming numbers of votes coming in against him, and at that moment, he made the decision that he would say that he wanted the vote to go through. At that moment, when Senator Schumer made the decision to come forward, there was no one who would stand up and say, nope, we shouldn't have them released. And I thank Senator Schumer for doing this. The House discharge petition materialized because there were the votes to override his veto. So now is the moment of truth. One, he has to sign it. But two, and most importantly, when we look at what the Attorney General of the United States, who is running a Justice Department that literally when Donald Trump orders them by Truth Social or in person to do something, they do it. Drop charges, they'll do it. Pardon their friends, they'll do it. It is literally a snap of their fingers. Make sure that you charge a Federal Reserve governor or the Attorney General of the state of New York or the former FBI director, we're there, we'll do it. That's what's been going on. So right now, we're facing a moment because of these faux investigations that she is now claiming are reopening. Now we're going to find out, are they really going to release the files or not? And we are ready to stand up for victims like Danielle and so many others in this country.
The Epstein Files have always been about full accountability for the perpetrators and justice for the victims. And Donald Trump, when he campaigned, he said, I'm going to release these files. it became increasingly clear that that wasn't going to be the case. So in July, 25 Democrats introduced the Epstein Files bill. Not one Republican would co-sponsor it. 4 months ago, then 2 months ago, Leader Schumer introduced that bill as an amendment on the Defense Authorization Act. And 51 Republicans tabled it. And every Democrat said, no, let's debate it and let's pass it. That's just 2 months ago. And then here we were yesterday evening. We called for all 100 senators to join in the vision of equal justice under law, and they did. And that's a great stride forward. But it is not the finish line. Because we know that Trump is not going to release those files. We are going to press him like hell, but everything we know about Donald Trump is he will obscure and delay. And there's a second set of files in the Treasury Department. $1.5 billion in suspicious activity reports. Senator Wyden and his finance team led an investigation with some bipartisan support. Those files provide huge information that will complement the information from the Department of Justice. Now, what happened yesterday evening was a really huge tribute to grassroots Americans from the far right, from the middle, from the left, all saying we believe that powerful men abusing and raping teenage girls should be held accountable. It's a vision throughout the political spectrum. And it was certainly a huge stride forward for the victims who so courageously stood up and shared their stories. But let's keep working toward the finish line when there will be actual accountability for the perpetrators and full justice for the victims.
Senator Gallego.
Thank you. Well, today we've won the battle for justice. We won the battle for these poor women that were victimized repeatedly, both by these awful elite men as well as the Trump administration by trying to cover up every step of the way accountability. But it's just a battle. There is still a war that needs to go on. We should not be in any doubt that this president is going to take every opportunity, along with his allies, along with Attorney General Pam Bondi, to slow down, to cover up, to confuse, because at the end of the day, the truth will come out and it will hurt this administration. So I just encourage everyone that was involved and was involved from the fight from day one to make sure that we do not fall for the same traps that he's going to continue to put down. These women deserve justice. These women deserve to be treated like any other U.S. citizen. And just because it was elite men from New York City or from Mar-a-Lago or from wherever in the world, they deserve to be brought to trial and to justice just as much as anyone else. The president needs to show that he is for us and not for them, and stop trying to stop a real open investigation and a real understanding of what happened with the Epstein Files. Thank you.
Okay, questions?
Schumer?
Yes.
What's your reaction to this proposal from Health Committee Chairman Bill Cassidy to set up HSA accounts to help people afford the insurance plans on the Obamacare marketplace? Could that be a potential common ground? Is that
Look, we insist on that the ACA tax credits have to be renewed and extended, period. If Cassidy's proposal, as I understand it, replaces them, looks like it's privatizing health insurance, and it looks like it's really problematic, and particularly problematic to do very quickly. Yes.
Liz Schumer, Republicans have said that Democrats have been too singularly focused on President Trump's role in the Epstein Files. What would you say to that criticism, and are you equally concerned about the names of Democrats or people that donated to Democratic causes that could pop up?
We think every name should come out, everything. Everything. There should be no cover-up. Yes, this late. Yes, you haven't called on you.
Sanctions bill. Are you hopeful that it will finally get a vote this month now that Trump said he's okay with it? And if it does become law, what do you think should be the focus? Do you think there should be 100% tariffs on Turkish goods, Chinese goods? Hungarian goods? What would be the most effective?
Look, the bottom line is I think there are 87 co-sponsors or sponsors, including Leader Thune and myself. We've wanted to move the bill for a long time. Hopefully it can move. Putin has to be told in every way that he cannot be just a bully and overrun Ukraine. Okay? No, you gentlemen. Yeah.
Leader Schumer, given the federal court's decision in Texas yesterday to strike down their gerrymandered maps, are you boosted by Democrats' chances nationally going into 2026?
Look, I'm boosted by Democrats' chances nationally to begin with. Why? Because the American people are on our side. The issue of health care has been a dramatic cleavage between Democrats fighting to prevent these premiums from going up and Republicans standing in the way. Even we've seen this over and over again. The American people know we're on their side. They know the Republicans are opposing them, and that's going to serve us very well in 2026. Thank you.